Hey guys, today I want to talk a little bit about the mistakes that I commonly see people do on Deckard Cain. Deckard Cain, in my opinion, is one of the strongest supports in the meta right now, especially after the other two stronger supports just got nerfed. He has a variety of builds that work for a variety of situations, but I find there's just a few mistakes. And in this time, normally I'll show you all the mistakes in training mode. This video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to go through and show individual clips from a replay that I did, as well as one of the mistakes in try mode first. So let me start out with this mistake, and I'll explain it again in a real game. But the biggest mistake that I see, and there's so much debate about this mistake, is what order do you use W and E? Everyone talks about the WE combo over and over and over, but what is the correct way to do this? And while I think there are scenarios where either of them work, I find that one works 9 times out of 10, while the other one works maybe 2 times out of 10. And let's start out with the one that is kind of the mistake, the one that only tends to work about 2 times out of 10, which is the W first and then the E. The reason that this doesn't work is the slow ends much before the E goes off. For example, the slow lasts for 1.75 seconds after 0.5 seconds, and this takes 2.25 seconds to go off, which means you technically slow them just long enough to get your full combo off, but you need to take into account the travel time, as well as take into account the cast time of this ability, as it does have a cast time. With no cooldowns, you can see it still takes me a while to cast this. So when you combine the fact that there's a travel time and a cast time, sure, you could kind of do it by doing your W and then waiting just a second and then doing your E, and the slow will last almost long enough. But the problem is this is very predictable. So what instead, the correct combo that seems to work about 9 times out of 10 is by doing simply E first, and then immediately as your E is going off, toss out a W. The cast times synergize much better, and it makes it to where a third of the E goes off before they even notice it, and then the W goes off. So again, I'm going to show you what it looks like, and then I'm going to show you it in combat, where by the time they realize the E's going off, they get hit by a slow, which slows them just long enough to where they can't get out. That's the first mini mistake. There's another mistake that if you're ever trying to flank with Cain, one thing that people don't realize is that his E is a ground move, which means that a lot of it can be covered up by foliage. And I will show you what it looks like. You can pretty much hide the first third of your ability by using it on a tree. So no one sees the majority of your thing because it's on a tree. This allows you to flank people from other lanes very easily as long as they're sitting by the wall. I'm not going to say this is something that you can use every game, but every once in a while it'll trick them because you can cover up a lot of the ability simply because it's hard to see around foliage. Now I'm going to get into all the other tips in the replay. I hope you all enjoy. Mistake number 1 on Deckard Cain is not placing healing potions before a fight. On Braxis, a fight tends to start in the beginning, especially when you have a Stitches, it's going to land hooks. So simply by placing potions out ahead of time allows it to where whenever the fight does happen, your team can get fully healed by the potions that you've already set, as well as your mana regen doesn't start until you're missing mana. So as long as you can cast a few of your potions out ahead of time, it allows it to where your mana starts regenning. So before the fight even goes on, you're already gaining a lot of your mana back from your heals, something that a lot of other healers cannot do. An extra little problem that I find on Deckard, and a pretty big mistake that I commonly see, is people just aren't throwing enough healing potions in general. If you ever watch my healing versus the other healers whenever I'm playing Deckard, I tend to almost double the amount of healing that they're doing, simply because he's a very, very powerful healer. But a lot of times you can out-heal them purely because your healing does a lot with your healing potion, but it takes a lot of mana management to be able to do it. Whenever I back, you can see that I normally toss a bunch of potions out, and then I back and I'll have full mana when I come back. So if you're worried about mana, work on mana management a little bit better, but at the same time, you should be topping the healing chart with Deckard every time that you play him. So if you feel like you're not throwing a potion every time it's up, you should be practicing working on getting more potions out and better mana management. One mistake that I commonly see is people don't leave healing for their solo laner. One of the most powerful pieces of Deckard is the fact that he can leave healing for another lane. Imagine like being able to toss a regrowth on someone when they needed it from global range. And that's essentially the power of Deckard, is we have a solo laner. These two people are going to head back down bottom lane, and I've already left 2 healing for him as I rotate down to bottom lane. So I get to head down to bottom lane, I get to assist someone, and I still have healing potions that are hanging out right here and right here. So if our solo laner ever needs any sort of healing, they have the healing down there if needed. When healing people, it's best to toss out a healing potion in front of where they're going to go. In this case, we go for a combo, we go for a kill. I don't expect her to jump in, but I do expect her to leave in this direction, so I simply throw potions out in the direction she's going to go, giving her heals without me needing to worry about heals ending up behind her. One kind of small mistake that I see a lot, mostly on the forums, is a lot of people complain about, why aren't you picking up health potions? I don't ever really have that issue. It's not that my team picks up potions, it's that a lot of times, I'm not going to complain that they're not going to pick up this potion or this potion, but instead what I'm going to do is make sure that I'm landing potions at the same time as throwing potions out. So what I mean by this is, if you have someone who's getting attacked, toss potions directly on them, so that you need to not worry about if they're going to pick up this potion. If you were someone that would throw a potion, because I can't expect her to pick up this potion right here. Yes, she's 2 steps away. But how hard is it for me to simply just toss a potion directly on her? This way that she still gets the extra healing, and I don't need to worry about her not picking up something. So practicing throwing potions directly onto people, or where they're going to go, is very beneficial for keeping them high health without needing to worry about if they're actually going to pick up the potions you're dropping down. Did you know you can drink a potion without actually throwing it? Well, one of the common mistakes that people do is they don't use self-casting for your Q. And self-casting for your Q is something that you should have with some sort of combination of Shift Q, Alt Q, or you can make your own hotkeys by simply going into here, and you can set specific profiles for each individual character that you play over here by creating the profile and clicking down on that. But otherwise, you can go through in here and you can change your abilities this way. I simply use Alt Q, but as you can see, it looks like you simply drink a potion without actually using anything. You'll watch Deckard Cain for a second, and he drinks a potion without actually throwing it anywhere. And that utilizes the ability of doing a quick heal to yourself without needing to worry about travel times, or if you get stunned, you don't need to worry about picking it up or anything else. Making sure that you're landing potions directly on people will be very beneficial for Deckard, but especially when you're tossing healing potions on yourself. So utilizing either Alt Q or creating your own hotkey so that you can heal yourself is extremely beneficial. This is what a correct WE combo would look like. Let me get on Deckard for a second. Firstly, I walk in, I activate my E first, all right? And the E shows that the E is growing, and then the cast time of W goes off after the E already starts growing. Now, the E's a third of the way done before the slow even happens. Then when the slow happens, they no longer have time to exit the route. So you end up landing the root on both people. This is precisely how the combo should be done. And if you do it differently, you toss out the slow first and then the E, what's going to happen is that they're going to get slowed, and then the slow is going to end before the E happens, and they can simply walk out of the root. Another example of a correctly done combo, by using my E first. As the E is going, you toss out your W, and then the E will get about a third of the way done before the W even explodes, slowing the enemy just long enough to where no matter which direction they go, they will still get caught in the root. One mistake that I kind of see, or at least a little tip that you can do, is either way, it works best if you have the potion of shielding, but if you don't have the potion of shielding, if you see someone who's stasised or locked down or anything, toss a potion their way, because it won't activate until they get out of the stasis, and if you do have the shield talent, then they'll wake up and immediately have a shield. This works with Chromie's temporal loop, as well as different stasis abilities or stopped abilities. In this case, I see that she's locked down, I toss a potion her way, and even though we're kind of far away, I think that this should be enough healing to keep her alive. And it is. Alright, so to end off, I want to share just a tiny bit more about Deckard Cain, as well as to recap a few of the mistakes. One, People that are not setting the self-cast for heals, if you're trying to heal yourself using like Alt-Q or another hotkey, doing the combo out of order. Both ways work, but one way works just slightly better. I recommend practicing it. Not placing healing potions before a fight, and not placing healing potions around solo laners. There's a variety of other tips that I added to this video, like not throwing enough potions, as well as some tips like you can hide portions of your roots, or just throwing out healing potions directly on people so you're not always tearing out your hair trying to hope for people to pick up healing potions. The build that I would recommend trying out on Deckard Cain, while I will do an entire video on Deckard Cain as well as a guide for him later, one that I'd recommend trying out is the Scroll of Identify, Rejuvenate Potion, Kanai's Cube, into Stay While and Listen, followed by the Ancient Blessings. Don't forget to use the trait. Then into the Scroll of the Stone Cursed, followed by Respect to Elderly. Test this out a few times. Let me know how you feel. If you feel like it worked well, toss in the comments below. And one last thing before we go, to keep the quality of this channel up and to keep me continuing videos, I am doing a little bit of sponsorships now, and one of the people that I'm sponsored by right now, and this particular video is sponsored by, is Honey. Honey is this extension that you can get for any browser that allows you to save a lot of money while doing any online shopping. I have a link in the description below that will automatically work with any browser that you click the link on, and it will allow you to download Honey to any browser. So what does the Honey do? Well, the first thing that Honey does is it will look for any coupon codes that are available on the site that you are trying to buy something on, and it will instantly include the coupon code to anything that you purchase, meaning that you could buy something and automatically save money without having any sort of coupon code. The other thing that Honey does is it allows you to mouse over when you're purchasing something, and it will show you other ways to purchase it where you can save more money. The next thing that Honey does is it allows you to set a drop list. And a drop list, what that does is essentially makes it to where when you are purchasing something, you can save money by making it to where if a price drops below a certain point, you will be notified, and then you can simply buy it when that price drops to that point. So that is effectively what a drop list is, and that is what Honey is. So if you are interested in Honey, click on the button in the description. It is completely free to download, and it is pretty beneficial. I've saved a lot of money using it. And if you like my videos, I always appreciate subscribers, as well as feel free to toss any comments below of what you thought about it. If you make those mistakes, or if you don't make those mistakes, you feel that it was a good video. Either way, love to hear it. Thank you very much.